get to Jacob as well to have him on the show today at 4 o'clock. That Baylor 100% capacity, Mac Rolls will join us on that. We'll ask him about what is the latest when it comes to the NCAA. Have they heard anything new on that timeline, plus other stuff in between that we will get to as well. We're now joined by Grayson Grundhoefer, SicEm365.com. He and Craig do the Bearcast each week. It goes for an hour plus on many things Baylor. And Grayson, Jacob's going to join us at 4. Paul just confirmed that. Tell us about Jacob Gall from Buffalo.
Yeah, guys. So this is a big pickup, and it's really interesting because all along this process, we had talked about one of the Buffalo offensive linemen, Mike Nowitzki, a whole lot. But Jacob Gall was the guy who entered the portal 11 days ago. A lot of the guys from Buffalo have entered the portal. Of course, Lance Leapold going to Kansas is a big reason why. So Jacob, 6'2", 305 pounds. He made his decision to enter the portal less than 2 weeks ago. I believe it was 10 days ago exactly. But yeah, I mean, a very good player, a guy who started every game at left guard this past season. He's appeared in 33 career games throughout his time there, 13 career starts. But last year was his really big statement year. Started all 7 games. According to Pro Football Focus, he was the highest rated left guard in the entire nation with a grade of 90.5. So clearly he was very, very good when he was on the field last year. It's also kind of tough, though, because Buffalo as a unit was extremely good last season. They scored over 43 points per game and ran for 287 yards on the ground each game and only gave up 1 sack. So as a unit, they were very good. Jacob was a key cog in that. And obviously he's going to be a grad transfer, so he'll be immediately eligible for Baylor this upcoming season. And he'll have 2 years of eligibility thanks to the COVID year last season.
Grayson, just taking the assumption or the belief that Smokey and I believe Craig and we have that if you're a grad transfer, you should start. Otherwise, why did the school go out and get you as a grad transfer? So who is the 5 right now for you in your mind, adding Jacob Gall in there?
Okay, so yeah, I agree with you, first of all, on that. Jacob Gall is not coming to Baylor to be the backup. He's coming to Baylor because he believes there's a great opportunity for him to start. I have him at left guard. I think that's probably where he's going to fit in. I got Connor Galvin at left tackle. I do think at the end of the day, Grant Miller, the Vanderbilt transfer, will be the starter at center. I'm going to come back to right guard in a minute. But at right tackle, as of right now, it's Gavin Byers. But I do think there could be some more movement for Baylor in the portal. Maybe they try to get a right tackle, which is a position that I believe they need. But again, it's very, very tough to go out and get a tackle at this time. And then at right guard, I mean, guys, this is you could put a bunch of names in a hat right now and pull one out. I was not impressed with what I saw from Xavier Newman this spring. I really hope he can rebound. But if not, I actually think a guy who might have an outside chance to get the starting job there is Giancarlo Valentine. I think that he had a nice spring, and he didn't play in the spring game, so no one got to see him. But I think there's a chance that he is actually the starter at right guard when the season starts.
Grayson, any chance they take more than one offensive lineman? I mean, like they're going to take another one beyond Jacob Gall, but any chance they take more than one beyond Jacob Gall?
So I do think, like you said, I would be shocked if they didn't take another one. And as for 2, that's going to come down to, honestly, who enters the portal and when they do it. I think Baylor would like to take 2 more. Also, the other factor is JUCO recruiting as well. Do they decide to take one more grad transfer, hopefully at tackle, and then add a JUCO as the 3rd edition? I think that could be very likely as well. So, yeah, I mean, if I had to guess right now, I would say very, very likely they take one more, and I would say it's probably likely that they take a 3rd.
How deep can you go before it's too late? I know if there's somebody that can help you, you go until you even start workouts in August, but how deep do you kind of get the feeling, talking to those you talk to, about how much before they need to kind of know where they are?
Yeah, I mean, the hope would be that everyone makes a decision before June happens, before summer one for school, and before those off-season workouts begin. But I will also say, like you just mentioned, I don't know that there is going to be a timeline if Baylor does not address every position they need to, where they say, okay, we can't take another guy. I don't see it with what we saw on the offensive line this spring and kind of what we've seen over the last few years. I just think there's guys that need more time, and I think that if you can go add talent, you have to go do it. So I don't know that there's a strict deadline, but I will say I think they would like to have it all wrapped up by the end of May.
Grayson, I mean, if you look around, I mean, you're not going to sneeze at anybody or turn anybody down in the transfer market if they're going to help your team, but is the focus really in that only on the offensive line? Because if you look at the defense, they've got depth there pretty much everywhere. You know, skill positions on offense appear to have depth. You know, they've got 4 quarterbacks for crying out loud. They're going to battle it out. So would it really only be the offensive line that's the focus of the transfer market?
It's not the only position. There's definitely one position that people have talked about, but I've talked about it, but I'm not sure people realize how, I guess, serious Baylor is about it. But I think they would like to add another interior defensive lineman. Obviously, they feel really good about Apu Aika there at the nose tackle. But if you move on from him, as far as the depth chart goes, they don't really have anyone who is even similar to him body type wise. And I know he's tough to find, but still a guy who can actually fill in at that nose tackle position. I think that's an area where they would definitely like to look and potentially add a prospect. I will say that is probably the only other position where I would say I've heard they have a need and a want to add there. Everywhere else would just be kind of a best available type if they feel like they have room. But offensive line, interior defensive line, those are the 2 areas to look at. With the addition of Jacob Gall, I really feel like you can, I'm not saying they're only going to focus on tackle, but they still, that's the glaring need is right tackle, in my opinion, to get a more veteran face on the offensive line so that they can show, you know, hopefully tremendous amounts of improvement going into next season.
Grayson, Zach Pyron, we talked about this on the Bearcast a little earlier, but made some waves at the Elite 11 competition this past weekend. For those who may have missed our earlier conversation, your thoughts on Zach Pyron and him making a few waves?
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of seeing why Baylor wanted to take a quarterback in this 2022 class, and also why they took a guy who was kind of out of nowhere, to be honest. I mean, they went into Alabama, found the guy they wanted. This is he was a Sean Bell recruit from day one. He was the guy that he wanted. Obviously, once you got through the top 3 in the state, Quinn Ewers, Cade Klubnik, and of course, Connor Weidman, there just really wasn't anyone in the state who stood out to this coaching staff, or else I believe they would have taken a Texas prospect, but there really wasn't that. And so they had to do more of a national search. Sean Bell found his guy in Zach Pyron, a very underrated kid out of Alabama who all he has done in his career is win 3 straight state championships, moved from a smaller 2A school after his sophomore year, won another state championship at the biggest classification in Alabama at Pinson Valley. And so now he's looking for the clean sweep to win 4 straight state championships. But he had a great camp. Everyone was talking about him as possibly being the closest thing to Ty Simpson at the camp. For those who don't know, Ty Simpson's committed to Alabama. Consensus pretty much top 2 quarterback in the entire class. So very, very good player there. Pyron really challenged him on Sunday at the Elite 11 Regional. And now, I'm really curious, is he going to get the Elite 11 invite? I think after this camp he should. And if he can go compete in the Elite 11 finals, that would be massive. And he would join the long list of Jacob Zeno, Gary Bohannon, and Kyron Drones to receive that honor.
Well, Grayson, we did not have you scheduled for today, but with Jacob Gall committing the transfer from Buffalo, obviously we appreciate you jumping on. We'll have you hopefully on Friday as well. And also Zach Pyron will join us on Friday. He has a spring game. Is that right, Grayson? Did he have a spring game Thursday night?
That sounds about right. You were the one that reported that one first, but I do know y'all got an interesting nugget that he told me this week that he will be early enrolling. So I don't know
okay.
about the spring game, but he will be early enrolling. So definitely some big questions there and a huge answer for this Baylor coaching staff to get him in early.
Yeah, he was going to be on today. He said, I got practice all the way through Wednesday. I got the game Thursday evening, so perhaps that's a spring game for Pinson Valley, and then he'll join us, of course, Grayson, all over everything, and also with the Bearcast with Craig as well. Full hour plus of information that is just soaking with Baylor. Thank you, Grayson. Appreciate you jumping on with us.